Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member. Thank you, Director Pizarczyk, for being with us. I read some of the transcripts from your Senate confirmation hearing, and I know that Senator Murkowski asked you a question about whether you thought there should be an official and legitimate role for states in the process of developing recommendations or reaching decisions in the context of the Interagency Action Plan. And sort of in summary, and if you indulge me, you basically said that you thought it was critical to the success of the Interagency Action Plan for state regulatory authorities to participate in developing any recommendations. Having said that, and is that a fair characterization, first of all, of your answer, that you think it's critical?
Mr. Congressman, that seems ages ago. I really have no recollection of that conversation.
But do you still believe that to be true? That
I'm not familiar what the Interagency Action Plan is, but the states are a critical part of our process. They have provided input, and for instance, when we shared drafts of the EIS with them, we got hundreds of comments from them indicating the number of, and they have had input on it, and they are a good source of information because in many instances they're the on-the-ground folks doing the mining, or regulating the mining.
in fact, have primacy.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask then, have you had a lot of face-to-face meetings with some of the cooperative agencies in this process?
In which process?
In the process of this rule that we're discussing today.
In the beginning, I had a number of meetings with states where we solicited input. We had a number of outreach sessions where we met with industry, the state regulators, the tribes on the scope of things. So I personally attended a number of those meetings. I think we had about 15 of those. We had 9 scoping sessions where we conducted around the state. The states had opportunity to provide input on that. We also had input with the states from the drafts of the first documents that were prepared by the previous contractor. So there's been a tremendous amount of input from the states.
I just want to be clear, though. So you said sharing drafts of the what now? The previous rule?
Back in 2010, the previous contractor that we had that prepared the first draft of various chapters of the environmental impact statement. And those drafts were shared with the cooperating states who volunteered to be part of the cooperating agencies under the National Environmental Policy Act, and they provided a lot of comments to us during that process.
How about since that early phase in that 2010? Have there been many face-to-face meetings or with the cooperative agencies, as well as or even conference calls, realizing that not everybody can get together?
One of the things that the states made very clear to me that they had very limited resources, and they didn't believe that reviewing and commenting those comments was a productive use of their limited resources. I recognize the limited resources that they have in regards to the budget times, et cetera, and so I did not approach them to impose upon their limited resources at this time when we have a document that we believe is satisfactorily along so that they can have a productive utilization of their limited resources. We will be sharing that with them.
Well, it is true that states have limited resources. Many of them, in fact, don't even spend more money than they take in, and that is a limiting factor that you're not confined to. I realize that, and it's something we ought to probably correct around here, but that's another committee and another hearing. Let me ask you this, because I think a previous question was, an opportunity was missed. Let's say, regarding the redacted response, what if a coal mine responded to you with a redacted document? I mean, that would be a little bit hard to accept, wouldn't it? I mean, you have legitimate oversight of coal mines.
I don't think those are equal situations or that you can equate the two. There are certain constitutional parameters that involve our relationship with Congress and Congress' relationship with the executive branch that don't exist between OSM's oversight and a mine operator.
How about with regard to deadlines? When a regulated mine misses a deadline that you impose upon them, are there ever penalties that they're subject to as a result?
The typical process is a notice of violation and giving the mine operator an opportunity to correct their violation before penalties can be assessed. There can be instances where penalties are assessed as appropriate and in accordance with the statute and regulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a former coal regulator in North Dakota, I'm quite familiar with how onerous this process is. Onerous to the point where even a wealthy state like North Dakota chooses not to participate because we can't afford, quite frankly, to be part of a process like this. But my time has expired, and I appreciate the gentleman's indulgence.